Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett are here again. And we are excited because we're going to talk about some marketing today. And I love marketing. Actually, I really love where we're going to go with this today.
Marketing loves you back, Garrett.
Marketing loves me back too, I think. We're going to have some fun talking about some of the right ways and wrong ways to do marketing, but also how you should be looking at it from your personal side. Before we jump into that, as always, because our intro and our share of what we have to offer was just not really up to par last time when Matt did his intro into the podcast.
Was that last episode?
That was last time. So if you want to learn more about ninjas, we talk about it today, because I know a lot of you who listen to our podcast have not been to an installation. It is the best way of getting the foundation and groundwork that'll help you understand everything that we talk about. So if you're interested in learning more, go to ninjaselling.com. Installations are offered on there. You can find dates and events that are maybe in your area. Other things you can go check out is the Ninja Podcast community in the Facebook group. So please go check that out. And we'd love to have you there. We have a great group of ninjas that are, again, learning ninja, as well as some very advanced ninjas in there. But commonality is you all listen to the podcast. We want to say thank you to all of you in that group and who are participating with that. With that being said, Matt, we're going to talk about just listed and just sold postcards for the most part today. We're going to go down and talk about some other things, but for the most part, we're going to talk about those and the difference between a humble brag and actually giving valuable information. And the reason Matt and I wanted to go down this route is that there's a lot of agents, when I start working with them, they're like, I don't want to do just listed and just solds. And we actually have some ninjas that are like, I don't like just listed and just solds. And it's funny, the more I typically dig into it, Matt, I typically find that they're looking at them as a humble brag postcard or an opportunity to say, look what I did, compared to finding the way to show value in it. And it's so important. This is why I want to talk about this today, because I have seen businesses flat out change to the greatest levels by figuring out how to provide value in them. And I've seen businesses be okay when we look at it as the humble brag. And there's value in it because there's a postcard going out, but there's the right and the wrong ways of doing this. So Matt, good morning. I love this topic. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is a good one. I love Autoflow. Many reasons for that. I find there is a big split among the population of like, I just don't do just listed, just sold. I don't like them, or I love them, and that's all that I do. And as a foundation, I also want to just highlight and remind everybody, Autoflow, what we're talking about is 3 touches a month to your sphere, right? So this isn't farming. We're not talking about listing marketing. We're talking about Autoflow to your sphere, particular here, when as it relates to just listed and just sold that we're going to talk about. And the goal is to have 3 touches a month. Postcards are some of the best touches you have because you have virtually a 100% open rate on postcards, which is why Ninja is so bullish on postcards. Very few companies in general and across all industries do postcard marketing, which I think is a shame. I think there's more opportunity. Yes, there's the social media and ad stuff and all that kind of thing. That's not Autoflow though, because remember, what we're talking about is delivering value to people who know you and people that you know, not delivering value to strangers, which can also work, but that's a whole separate discussion. So this brought us to the conversation about humble brags too, because it's that time of year where people are getting midway awards and there's all the posts of like, oh, I'm so grateful for this award that I got. And if that's you, and I know it's a lot of you, and I know a lot of people that I work with, and I am so proud of every one of you, really am. We could probably work on the humble brag a little bit, but everybody shares that stuff. So I don't necessarily think you're doing any damage to yourself or your brand. But on the just listed, just sold side, I have seen it, Garrett, cause some people to have like a gag reflex when they're like, goodness gracious, if I get another card from Garrett that tells me how darn awesome he is at selling houses, I'm going to flip out.
By Garrett saying, look at how awesome I am. Like, look at what I've done. Look what I've accomplished.
Exactly. It's not like somebody else is saying, man, Garrett's awesome. It's like, hey, just sold in your neighborhood by me. You said you got this card. Tell the people the card that you got, because this is the bad side of the just solds that we see a lot.
Yeah, so I got one here recently. It was a picture of a house in my neighborhood. And on the postcard, it said, just sold in your neighborhood. I now have time to help you out sell your house. And that's it.
No information about the house, no price, no address.
No, I had nothing. And it was call me for details on this house. And I literally was like, it was just trash. It was just trash in my mailbox. I don't know who the realtor is, never met them, don't want to meet them. And I have this thing that I was curious about. And this is where the difference of how a just listed or just sold postcard can have value for somebody. We're going to go into that. But like the value opportunity was missed. And now I'm sitting here left in a cliffhanger going, I got to call. I have to call somebody to just find out what that property sold for. It doesn't even relate to my house. Just so you know, I don't want to talk to you.
You probably went on Zillow and figured it out on your own.
But I don't want to talk to you. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't know who you are. You're a stranger to me. And now I have to call you to find out some information so that you can basically pitch yourself to me again. I don't want to talk to you. Give me the information. I will be way more intrigued by you when you provide me great value and information that makes me go, I love this person. Like every time I get something from them, it's got something great in it that I'm intrigued by. That is a way better relationship to start with me than like every time I see you, I'm supposed to call you to get the value that you have to offer. Stop mailing me.
Yeah, you're like keeping the information under lock and key. I got a similar postcard like that a while ago, only there was no picture on the front of it. It was just an address. I was like, I don't even know what that is.
I think it's also important to mention in this scenario, Matt, I love talking to people. I have family members that don't like taking me places because I'm the one that loves finding new people to meet and to talk to. And they're like, is dad leaving? Like, come on. Like, we want to go home. My wife is like, oh, please don't start a conversation with somebody.
Oh, just leave him there. He'll be fine. He'll be okay.
I am the one that answers telemarketers when they call, and I look at it as like a special gift from the heavens that I'm like, ooh, I get to mess with a telemarketer here.
As a sales coach, too, it is fun to answer those phone calls.
I look for those opportunities all day long. There is part of me that wants to call the realtor who sends that postcard just as an opportunity to be like, all right, if you added some junk in my mail, like I'm going to bring some junk to you today. Like, here we go.
Hi, I got your card. Do you think the realtor really wants that kind of phone call too? Probably not.
I'm calling because I understand you have time to sell my house now. Like, I'm so excited.
But I just really wanted the information that you said to call you about from the card. I'm not really thinking of it. Like, I don't think the agent wants that kind of phone call. So here's the other side of this too, Garrett. Like that poor marketing is messing up your whole flow.
Oh, it is. And again, I want to go back to like, I love talking to people. So like that thing on there is not working for the people that love to talk to people. It's not, you're not getting the right response that you want.
Now, on the flip side, we have another card here that I recently received.
I love this one.
Now, it's a little small. I wish it was bigger. So I'll just say that. I had to find something that. But it's awesome. Got pictures on the front of it, pictures on the back of it of this really beautiful townhome in Seattle. And it says new, just sold. And it says listed and sold in 5 days. Beautiful inside and out. Not sure if it was the views or the custom home that were more impressive on the back. Shows date it was built, a walking score, has an electronic car charging, which is a big thing, I think, in Seattle. Private bath, walk-in closet, eating kitchen, urban oasis, generous sized great room. Now, there's a paragraph that explains this stuff. 360 views. Oh, and it has the price, $1,120,000.
There's good pictures, though, Card. You showed it to me. There's great pictures on this thing. You had a picture of the building.
Yeah, got a drone photo, got picture of the view, picture of the kitchen and living room. I mean, there's pictures of the things they describe on the card too. Oh, and it's 3-bedroom, 2.75 bath. That one got me intrigued. So I was like, 2.75. Which bath is the 0.75? And what 0.75 items does it have in that bath? Could be a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe there's tub, no shower, or is it shower, no tub?
Matt got stuck in the details.
Is it a bidet? Is that the extra quarter point that it gets? I don't know.
What do you get for a bidet? It's like that messes up the matrix altogether.
It's got to be a quarter point, right?
It can't be a full quarter.
But it's more than a half. It's more than a half bath if you got one of those.
But think of how often you use the bidet and how many people does that appeal to? Like, it doesn't get a full quarter.
So is it like then like a 0.6 bath? If you
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
okay. So well, then if you have a full bath with one, is it a 1.1 bath then?
We are so in the weeds.
Okay, back to the just sold here. So I would say in terms of the package of what a baseline just sold card could be, this has it. There's no call to action on here, which I don't think is necessary, but there's also no humble brag on here. There's no like, hey, I'm amazing. It does say that this was my listing, which I think makes sense. It doesn't say I'm awesome. It doesn't say I can sell this and I can sell your house. It's just facts.
Yeah, the only thing on that card that when you first started reading it to me, it says like, I got this done.
My recent sold listing. Yeah. Listed and sold in 5 days.
Listing and sold in 5 days. It's totally fine. It's a really nice card. Now, here's what makes it different. So as Matt was saying, like there's no humble brag on there. At the same time, it's like, here I am in Redding, California, and Matt's talking to me about this card. And I'm like, how much was that property? Like, and he has the information to give to me. I'm like, that sounds like a really cool place. Rooftop balcony, all these pieces to it. And I'm like, I know what you can buy that house for in Seattle or that condo for in Seattle. That's the power of a really good just listed and just sold postcard. It made me ask, who's the realtor on that? Like, is that a realtor that I know or is that somebody else? Like, it made me get curious about it. I think you should share it because it's a good postcard. Who's the realtor sent that?
Yeah. Jordan Malik with Windermere Real Estate. Great managing broker over there in Seattle. He's awesome.
Yeah. So again, that provided the intrigue of a really good just listed postcard, which it should do to make you go, I'm curious about the pieces of this house. What is the puzzle that makes that house worth what it is? And as a homeowner, we're all curious about it. When you get that information in your hand and you can quickly look at it and go, well, what does this mean to my house?
Well, so Garrett, this is where some people object. And this is a common objection I get is, well, why would I send a Alaska Junction sold card to my people who live in Hawaii Junction? I don't know what the different towns are called, but Alaska Junction doesn't matter to Hawaii Junction people. Is that a problem?
Well, I think that if you have a large database, let's just say if you're mailing to all the people that you know.
So California Junction, South Dakota Junction.
It's funny, you're like, these are all areas in Seattle you're probably picking on. So like Alaska Junction is an area of Seattle, right? That's a Seattle postcard?
Yes. I live on the opposite side of the country, so I'm just making up fictitious town names here.
Just making sure we're on the same page. I think the interesting fact is like in today's world right now, we have a massive migration of people that's still happening. There are things that are causing people to migrate all over the United States. And if I have a realtor that I know in another area, and I'm taking myself out of the real estate world for a second, if I have a good friend in Seattle that I've obviously at some point developed a relationship with, I know they're a realtor, I'm getting their actual mailings that are coming down, I do have a potential of referring them. I also, if they are my expert in real estate, because I don't have somebody in my area that like understands real estate, I would call them for their expertise if I was planning on selling my house. I would call and be like, hey, what's going on in the general marketplace right now? I could totally have that conversation with them when we're just having our normal forward conversations and checking in because we're friends. They're still my expert and they have the ability of picking up a referral fee when I'm like, yeah, Sarah and I are actually maybe thinking about putting our home on the market. They have the opportunity to say, do you have anybody helping you with that down there?
Let's say, though, the database is just, it's local, right? So one community to the next, what does this one matter to that one? And I say, well, there's different layers of value that come with a just sold card as well. And this is, let's go back to what we said at the beginning. You're mailing these to your database. This isn't just like a blanket mailer. I know that some people do, but, and if you add that to your program, that's fine. But starting with the database, where's the value? Value is delivered in 3 ways, right? Education, entertainment, or impact. Impact being a great story that brings up an emotion or something that's like highlighting a charitable, whatever it is, or a local, hero, something like that. Just listed, just sold falls mostly in the education category. It can have elements of the other too, but this is your time to make sure that education is going out. And this has education in terms of here's the size of the home, here's the quality of the home, and here's what it's sold for, which gives me a market indicator for myself. Whether my home is a 4-bed, 2.5 bath on an acre, not a townhome, I can still go, oh, that's what townhomes are selling for right now. Interesting. I wonder what that means about my home, which might inspire me to give Jordan a call and say, hey, Jordan, like this is really interesting. This new build, at that 1.1 mark, do you see the cities coming back? Like, what does this mean overall? You can go further on these just listed, just sold cards too, to provide area market stats as well, right? Like you can use it as the opportunity to say, hey, here's the information about this home. Here's the current trends of the market as well, right? You can easily layer in another science element into these just listed and just solds.
You can also make the impact side of it by putting in a testimonial from that client that you helped. Like I see that as a missed opportunity. So there's very few just listed, especially just sold postcards that I get that have a story from the client that just says, man, working with Matt was awesome. And he helped us along the way, took care of the process, made my family feel that we had a secure plan on getting to where we were going to go. Like those stories are just opportunities that are missed all the time. And that brings the impact side that you were talking about, Matt.
Yeah. Now, does that borderline humble brag when we have somebody telling how awesome I am?
Goes back to it matters who says it.
Yep.
So again, if it's us saying like, wow, just helped this awesome family and these were all the struggles and we got them to where they wanted to go and look at me and without me, they wouldn't have been able to do it. It's totally okay if they want to say that.
People use testimonials for all businesses all the time, right? And so how you share those, I mean, when you're looking at your whole program with this, and I think this is another question that I get, Garrett, is how much is too much of these just listed, just solds? And do I want to have a difference in terms of how many are testimonials versus how many are stories versus how many have market stats versus how many are just pure, just listed, just solds? Does it make sense to combine all these into one monthly mailer that has 5 or 6, solds on there? Where do you stand on that in terms of like how much is too much and how should we handle if you're an agent that sells a lot of homes every month? How do we fit all that stuff in?
So first off, I always start with success leaves clues. And Matt, you and I and all of our coaches, we get to work with a lot of people out there that are doing some pretty crazy numbers in real estate. And more often than not, when I'm looking at one of those really high-end producers, be it sales amount or volume that they're working with, I typically can trace it back to the simple of postcards they can send out as the just listed and just sold and just be consistent with it. And typically about one every 2 weeks if they can pull one off. Like if that's they have enough sales happening in their world that they can pull those off.
So twice a month, essentially.
Twice a month, give or take. 2.5 is really something that I find is like a little critical number in there, which would be a literally every 2 weeks if you can pull that off. But all in all, I mean, that's as crazy it has to be. I always will find as people's sales start to pick up and they're doing more and more, they'll be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I had 4 sales here like in the last 2 weeks. Would it be best if I spaced them out? Should I do an individual card for each one? And that's where I start looking as like, well, where are you trying to build your business? Do you want to do a postcard for all of them? Are there ones that maybe aren't deserving to be in there because you really don't want to do condos? So we don't need to advertise that you do condos because that's just not your market that you want to be building. The worst thing that I see, Matt, and again, it can get weird, is when all of a sudden you stack a ton of properties onto one postcard. Because very easily, again, sometimes we can lose the value of what that property is and the stats and the information of that property. And it just turns into a whole bunch of properties with little just sold signs on them. And it can get just into a little bit of that, look at what I just did. Like, look what we've accomplished. I've had people argue this with me all day long. So I know there's people out there that are grinding their teeth right now and going like, but Garrett, you don't understand. And I get it. Like there is a sense of value where someone can see that in the month of June, you sold 10 homes. Like you're active, you're out there, you're crushing it, you're getting the job done. Look at how many pieces of business I've been able to help somebody with. I get it. if you were sending those out, I don't think it's detrimental to your business. I just think there's a way to provide more value.
Well, and I think this is where you get to use your own judgment here. Every agent's going to be different in how they approach this. And I always go back to, well, is it delivering value? Is it educating? Is it entertaining? Or is it creating impact? And then if the answer to any of that is yes, then great, send it, even if there's 10 solds on there. If the answer is no, and here's the other side of that question, is it only designed to get people to call me, right? Is it only designed to just tell people that I'm awesome, which does not deliver value? Now, you can have a call to action on the back of these things, by the way. In fact, I think there should be. You can easily put a call to action, and I've talked about this on podcasts before, is, hey, if you have any questions or if there's anything I can help you with, just give me a call. Nice little broad call to action that opens up the door. Whereas like in the case of the card you received, Garrett, if you're not thinking of selling, there's no way you're calling that realtor because that's the only call to action that you have. I am now available to sell your house. Well, I'm not thinking of selling. If it said, hey, if you have any questions about real estate or anything else, just give me a call. I'm here for you.
Yeah, I could put on the back. If you ever want to banter about real estate, shoot me a call. Love to chat with you.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I do have a question. I actually had a client that changed her call to action from, if you're looking to buy or sell, call me, to if there's anything I can help you with, call me. And her phone calls increased because people all of a sudden had permission. Access was granted.
Yeah, if you have questions about anything that has to do with your home, shoot me a call. There's ways to open it up, again, where it's not just so limited to when you need help with real estate, give me a call. Like you can open it all the way up.
So the underlying message here that we were trying to convey is that if you are against just listed and just sold cards, here's another perspective to look at it. And if you are sending less than stellar just listed and just sold cards, here's your opportunity to improve and move into the value, because everything that you do with marketing and Autoflow should be designed to create value for the end user so that when they open their mailbox, they look at that and say, this is informative. I'm learning something, or, oh, this is fun. I am entertained, or what a great, like, oh, I got the emotions going, right? And if it does that, win all the time, because they're going to see your face next to those cards every single time, which is going to make them think of you, make you think, and particularly they got to be real estate related. And here's an easy way to relate it to real estate, just listed and just sold. Now you're their advisor.
Well, and we got down this path today, Matt, because you and I were talking about Autoflow, and we're talking about the value of Autoflow and the ease of Autoflow. And I had said to you, what I have seen in people's businesses is the most powerful postcard that's made the biggest change that I have tracked is just listed and just sold. And you made the comment of, but it's not really Autoflow because you can't just like set it and forget it.
Well, it can be, right? Like this card actually from Jordan is, because his brokerage helps facilitate that.
So if you don't have a brokerage that can help facilitate it, it is one of those things that you have to create every single time, and you have to make sure it goes out. And again, this is where we're talking about, like, is it a humble brag? What is this piece then if somebody's going to send it out? And that got us talking about, where some realtors can really push back on it. And I get it. There was many, many years, Matt, that I was like, I don't get sending a just sold postcard, because I did look at it as like a look at me. I also had to reframe my mind of what is being put on that card. And the minute it turned into all the information, it turned into value. For most of my real estate career from, early 2000s, and up, the majority of the just listed and just sold postcards have zero value.
Overwhelming majority of them.
It is just a look at me, look what I sold, look what I just did. And now here I'm ready to help you, and give me a call if I can help you with real estate. Like, yeah, I get it. If that's all you're sending, I understand why you don't like just listed and just sold. I don't like them if that's what you're sending.
Yeah. And I'll say, for those of you who still don't like them, that's okay.
No, they need to like them, Matt. No, we haven't done our job if they don't like them.
There's plenty of other ways to send science mailers. And I look at, personally, just listen, just sold cards as a great way to add to your Autoflow, because if you're going to develop an entire year long program, unless you know that you consistently sell a certain number of homes every month, I think it's easier to have a science and art program that this is going to be great. And then I'm going to add my just listed, just sold to go from that 2 to 3 to every now and then 4 cards a month, I think is okay. A lot of people are like, oh, that's too much mail. I'm like, is it really though? I don't think it is.
I've had people that do just specifically only just listeds and just solds. And they're like, I've had one go out a week right now for like the last 2 months.
Yeah. And they're not getting anybody saying, stop mailing.
Yeah. Has anybody called you and said, knock it off? Like, you're bothering me. Like, this is a mess. They're like, not at all. Like, actually, I'm getting more phone calls because people are like, man, every time I turn around, they're seeing that you're active and you're helping people. And again, but there is more value to it than just like, look at me, I just sold a house. It's good data points. And as long as all that stuff's there, you won't get people saying, hey, knock it off. If it is just look at me, I just sold another house this week. Oh, look, here's another one. I just sold this one. And that's all it is. Yeah, you might get a phone call from me, even if I'm your friend going like, okay, dude, thank you.
Tired of putting these things in the trash.
I can only have so much kindling.
I'll be curious to hear. Part of this conversation was sparked by the questions in the group, and I did a live video in there the other day talking about Autoflow and farming because a lot of people have been asking, hey, what postcard should I send and all this stuff. And I would love to see everyone just elevate their Autoflow game just a little bit. And so if you're sending just listed, just sold cards, and even if they're good, I would look to say, hey, how can I just bring this up to another level? Whatever that might be for you. Because the better the marketing is, the better the industry is going to look too.
And Matt, you'd said like, what if I don't have enough just listeds and just solds to kind of make this be a full blown campaign throughout the year? And if it was me and I was doing my business plan, I would first make the plan of like, if I sell my goal homes, do I have enough to cover, having this flow of these postcards go out? Then I would also create probably 12 postcards that are ready to go. This is if it was me. I would create one on remodels and what you can get for return on remodels. I would create another one on interest rates and what the effect of that is on your actual mortgage payment. I would, maybe do another one on checking on your homeowner's insurance and getting the values to make sure your homeowner's insurance is set correctly. I would have a handful of those that are kind of timeless ones that are just ready to go. So if I don't have a sale that month, or maybe I'm short one of my postcard, I can fill one of those in and the thing just keeps rolling and you don't miss a beat at all. So there's ways to set yourself up for success. Does it take some planning ahead? Yes, but the best plans do.
Very true. Very true. So probably more topics on Autoflow because we could go down ideas and different things for marketing, which can be fun. We haven't done that in a little while. That would be good for a little happy hour in our group, Garrett.
Ooh.
So if we haven't done it yet, by the time this episode airs, we're going to do that. That would be a fun little topic. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for listening to us chat about just listed and just sold cards. Join our Facebook community. That's where a lot of conversation about this stuff happens. It is facebook.com/groups/the Ninja Selling Podcast. I also drop a spreadsheet in there with some ideas for postcards for you. So you can then just take those ideas and create them if you like. And if you want to learn more about Ninja, and if you haven't been to a Ninja installation, oh boy, do you need to get to one. And you're in luck because there are installations coming throughout the year. Just head over to ninjaselling.com and click the calendar. There's a lot of public ones coming up. Just saw another one announced. There's going to be more being announced. We know of a couple that haven't been posted on the site yet as of recording this, so we won't share just in case details change. But go to ninjaselling.com, click on the calendar. You'll find all your public installations there. Do yourself a favor and head to one because it is fantastic. And if you want to learn more about coaching, as always, you can reach out to us. You can head over to the Ninja Selling site and find coaching in there, or just ninjacoaching.com, I believe redirects right to the page as well. Or just drop a question in our Facebook community. Say, hey, I want to learn more. And someone will probably reach out to you. So I think I covered it all, Garrett. Did I make up for my failure of the last episode?
You did. You did very well. I think most importantly is if anybody knows the ratio of what a bidet does to your bathroom, if it turns it into a full quarter, if it's a 0.6 somewhere in there, I would appreciate that if you can write that in the comments. You can put that into the group.
The other thing that it could be, I realized, is 2.75 could mean there is a half bath and a quarter bath somewhere. It could be two separate rooms, right?
So if I have 4 quarter baths, I can count it as a full bath?
This is how we did it in New Jersey anyway, is instead of 3.5 baths, it would be 3.1. So the left side would be full baths, the right side would be half baths. So you could have, 7.2, 7.6 if you have 6 half baths for some reason. But we did left side of the dot was full, right side of the dot was half baths. And I found that to be one of the easiest ways to really understand how many bathrooms are in this house, because I just realized this could be actually 4 separate rooms, potentially.
Okay, so if I wanted to build a house just to mess with a real estate agent at some point, because I might do this, and I built a 3-bedroom house with 5 quarter baths, and that's it.
Yeah, like how do they count that?
Would that be a 1.25 bath?
Well, 2 powder rooms, right? How does somebody count 2 powder rooms if you're like, oh, I mean, the verbiage just has to extend. You have to say, well, 3 full baths and 2 half baths is typically what people say. But I like the, 3.2. Done. If you've listened this far to hear us banter on bath counts, you guys are amazing. You definitely are our biggest fans, and we love you.
Hardcore listeners. We appreciate you guys. Thanks so much, as always.
Have an amazing day.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.